Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and this is Dear Profiler Pat, where you send me your questions and ask for advice, and I always hope that my advice helps you and everybody viewing the video. If you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. Please do check my playlist for the different areas of life you might like some advice in. And if you want me to answer one of your questions, please send it to profilerpatbrown@gmail.com, and in the subject line, put Dear Profiler Pat. Okay, now this question actually didn't come from one of you out there. This came from Ask Eric, who is a guy a guy agony auntie. Well, I guess that's a guy agony uncle. Okay. Anyway, so this is about, dear profiler Pat, I'm a senior loner. How do I make friends to help me? And Eric's answer is way different than my answer is going to be. And it's because we saw this question in two different ways. So pay attention to what the question is and what his answer is and why I think he missed what she was saying, even though maybe she wasn't trying to be that obvious. All right, so asking Eric, loner in her 60s strikes out at making new friends and connections, which, by the way, is a problem for people. Not saying that it isn't a problem. Dear Eric, I retired a couple of years ago. I, like many people, I think, have realized that most of my friends and even acquaintances were work-related. That can be very true. And that's really one of the difficulties of retirement, is that your whole community kind of like can vanish overnight. My family doesn't live close. And if your family doesn't live close and you're by yourself and you can't make friends, you might consider moving close to family. Just a thought. I've always been a loner, so this doesn't normally even bother me. Okay, some people are loners. They don't need mass amount of getting together with people. They like reading, they like art, they like playing with their cat, whatever it is. They're kind of happy in their own little world. But she says this: I recently had a health issue come up where I needed a, quote, responsible adult to drive me home from surgery. And I had a hard time coming up with someone. Most of my interests are ones done alone. And when I looked into senior centers, the things they had were all craft stuff that I had no interest in learning. Now, depending on where you live, you can have senior center that does have very limited stuff, like maybe bingo and I don't know, some very simple crafts, like let's make a birdhouse. My senior center, my town, I do enjoy. I take Spanish there. I take art classes there. I've done chorus there. I've done a bunch of stuff through that. And a lot of things I am not interested in either. So that does hold true. If you're down in the villages in Florida, there's so many activities there. It's insane. Pretty much anything you could ever think of is there. So depending on where you live, you're going to have more or less choices. I'm a woman who has never really had much in common with other women. And that can be true too. You're just that's not that female type who gets along with all the other girls here. And have no interest in an actual relationship. And at my age, have no interest in an actual relationship. I'm assuming that's a dating relationship. So like I'm 60 and I'm done. I don't even want to look for somebody to actually be a partner. And many people feel that way because it's exhausting to try to date, and you may be just wherever it is, and you're good without that partner. Again, not a problem. I had a couple of really bad experiences with organized religion in my youth, and I tried to find a new church over the years, but find myself uncomfortable with the things I see and hear. Again, sometimes it's very hard to fit into a religious community if you haven't. It just can be difficult. I tried volunteer work, but like many towns, they are pretty much run by churches. A lot of volunteer groups are not run by churches, but you have to like what the volunteering is. And sometimes the problem with volunteering is that the jobs aren't exactly exciting, And after I kept politely turning down offers to come to the church, I found myself ignored or ostracized. Okay, so obviously the churches aren't working. I know a lot of the problem is on me, and this is what I'm going to get to. But how do you make friends, or at least another responsible person, when you're over 60? And this, to me, is the actual issue she's having. She wants to make a friend, or does she? Or does she want to meet someone to find a person who will help her out when she needs help? So she's not really looking for friends. She's looking for a servant. So I'm going to get to that. Let me read you Eric's answer, and then I'll go on. Dear loner, I don't want to negate your experience, but I gently suggest that many of the problem is not on you, actually, but a lot of it is. Many people of all ages struggle to find and maintain social connection. That is true. And many adults find social life in retirement to be new, surprising challenge. Also true. Well, one option you may find is seeking out groups that and activities that aren't necessarily geared towards seniors. Now, that actually is a good idea. You might have more in common with a local chess club or sports league. So intergenerational friendship is one of life's richest rewards, and you might find it easier to connect with some of these organizations. I totally agree with that. I have absolutely enjoyed meeting people of different ages. I went to some sign language groups. I went to Wine and Sign, which was super fun. Went to this like pub up in Baltimore, and we got wine. I was sitting around with all these 20 and 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and I was the eldest in the group. But they were fun. We were signing, we were joking, and it was so refreshing to have a different group of people than people my age. So I absolutely enjoy the mixed ages. So I totally agree with that. If you just want to have fun with, and you're just not really into just your age group, no, he's good. That's actually good advice. All right. You might also consider getting a part-time job. That's tricky one, but yeah, okay. And seeing if you could jibe with your coworkers. For the most part, again, 60-year-olds aren't hired many places, so it is hard. Although down in the villages in Florida, I hear that they hire people over 60 all the time, so maybe you need to move. Lastly, while it doesn't necessarily address the responsible adult need right away, many people find more connection through online groups. That's true. Here I am connecting with you guys. And then these connections can trickle down locally. If you happen to have, oh, wow, you live in my town? Right. However, the responsible adult thing, that's what I honed right in on. Okay. The problem I see here is she's not just looking for connection because she says, I'm good with being a loner. She wants somebody in her life when she needs something from somebody. Because when you are alone, live alone, and you don't have those people who are there for you. If you don't have children, for example, let's say you never had children. You don't have children there for you. If you don't have a big family full of brothers and sisters and they live in the area, they're not there for you either. So you don't have help when certain circumstances come up as you get older, like the surgery issue. You go in for surgery and they say, you got to have somebody take you home. And then you're like, but I don't have anybody. And you say, like, can I call Uber? And they're like, no, because Uber will dump you on the front lawn. And we have to make sure you get into the house. So you can't take Uber. So what do you do? So she thinks she can make friends that she can then put to work. That is kind of self-centered and selfish and isn't fair to the other person because they're there thinking you want to be their friend, but all you want to do is use them. That's the problem I have with this person. And I think he missed the point that she was really looking for people to do things for her. Now, she never suggested she should do things in return, which is problematic. In other words, if you don't put money into the bank, you can't get money out. So if you do get involved in certain groups and you get to know people, you're working with them, let's say let's say you did join a church and you're helping out in that church, you're helping out with a whole bunch of different things that the church has going on. When you put all your volunteer effort in, then somebody in a pinch will help you because you've helped them. But if you don't put any effort in, you don't get much back. So, and friendships take a while to develop. You can't hi, I want to be your friend. Let's go out for lunch. You go out for lunch and you say, oh, by the way, on Thursday, I need somebody to drive me home from the doctor's. I mean, no, you can't do that. They're like, I hardly know you and you already want me to what? So this is the problem. So you either have to have enough relationships where when you are in that bind, where you need somebody for something, they're there for you. And they're there for you because you're also there for them. So if you put a lot of money into that bank, you've helped them out in different circumstances, then they'll help you out. But if you haven't done a damn thing for them, they're probably not going to oh, I just can't wait to help you. I'm busy that day. So what do you do in that circumstance? Well, my suggestions are this. First of all, if you're looking at you're living to 80 or 90 and you're 60, you do need to find yourself some community. You need to find some friends, because otherwise, yes, you will always have no one to be there for you. And, you're going to have to consider that. Now, so you have to put out effort either to absolutely grow your friend community and do things for people so that then when the need is there, they might be willing to do something for you. Or you have to move near family if you have a good relationship, so they might be there for you. You're going to have to put a lot of effort out in order to get some kind of help back when you think you need it. But you have to be a true friend or a true family member, not just somebody who's obviously just trying to use the other person. And your only goal is that they'll be available for you when you tell them you need them. Now, what can you do if you can't find that family, friend, community? I'll tell you what you do. You hire people like everybody else does who doesn't have somebody who will be happy to help out. You hire them. It's true you can't take Uber home from the hospital, but you can hire a college student to drive to pick you up and bring you home. There are services which you can pay, medical services which come and get you and bring you home. You put your money out. If you're not willing to put your time and effort out, making friends and being a part of anything, well, first of all, if you aren't doing anything, you probably have a lot of extra money. You pay people to do things. It's like getting the airport thing. Oh, can you take me to the airport at 5 a.m? Seriously? Now, back in the day, before Uber existed, yeah, people took people to the airport. They didn't travel that much, so it was like a rare occasion. You're like, okay, I'll get up in the morning. I'll take you all the way to that airport, or I'll pick you up from the airport and bring you back. Right now, I'm like, I would not ask somebody to do that. I'm like, if I can afford to go on vacation, I can afford to pay $50 to the Uber. And that Uber person is happy to come and pick me up because that's how they're going to earn a living. They're thrilled that I'm calling them. And they take me right to the front door. And it's great. I get out. It's nice. And when I come back, I just get on my phone, go Uber, and be there in 3 minutes, and they take me straight home. And I don't have to make people drive all the way to the airport and back, because it's 2 ways for the person coming to pick you up or drop you off. And it's usually at a crappy hour. So if I can call Uber, I'm going to do that. I don't have to bother somebody else. Now, once in a while, I've said to my kids, I might mentioning I'm going someplace, and I have one son who particularly will go, oh, yeah, I could take you to the airport. And that's really sweet of them. I mean, it's sweet if they offer, but sometimes what I'll do is I'll say, because, he could use a little extra money himself, I'll go, look, I would have called Uber. So if you're going to take me to the airport, I'm just going to pay you like Uber. That way I can give them a little extra cash. I pay people to clean my house because I don't want to clean it. I'm not going to expect a friend to come over and clean my house for me, right? So yeah, I have to pay somebody to clean the house. So if you're if you're a loner, you don't have a good network of people to jump in to help you. You better get your money ready to go. You hire people to do that. You make the person you hire happy, and you get the service provided. And you don't have to fake a friendship in order to use the person. That's a pretty crappy thought. That's why you're looking for friends, just because you need somebody, to do stuff for you, but to drive you around. That's not right. So I think the problem this woman has is that her motives are not the right motives. If she wants to actually have a community, she's going to have to put the effort into getting community. And if she just wants people to be useful to her and do things for her, she needs to hire them and stop being cheap about it. So that's what I want to say. So Eric had some great thoughts about how to look for way to meet people and have some relationships. Or that's excellent. I do think there are ways to do it. Sometimes it's very difficult, but I'm going to do a whole different video on ways to get into the community. I'll be heading to Hawaii and at the end of December. I'm going to be staying there for 3 months, and I'm going to be by myself. And I've rented a room, because who can afford more than a room as a snowbird to Hawaii? So I'm in a room, and I'm going to have to find things to do, because I'm not going to be in my home. My granddaughter's not going to be next door. My daughter's not going to be next door. My sons aren't going to be down the street. I'm not going to be able to go to my senior center. All that stuff is gone. I'm going to be in this other place, and I'm going to either be lonely or a loner. I'm not a loner. So I'm going to be lonely if I don't find a way to meet people and to do things. So those are my thoughts on this. But one thing I'm not going to do is meet people just to use them. Oh, I don't have a car in Hawaii. Do you have a car? No, I'm not going to do that. I will take the bus or call Uber. So those are my thoughts. Put your thoughts below and join me next time. Bye-bye.